Okay, so I have rolled my slab of clay, so now I'm ready to make my Day of the Dead face. So you're going to get a stencil, you're going to lay it onto your slab. If your slab is too small, you might have to add a little more clay. Do it again. So I'm going to lay it on here, press down, and you're going to use a tool to trace around it. So you can use a popsicle stick. And I'm not cutting into the clay, all I'm doing is tracing. Just like I would if I'm drawing it on a sheet of paper. So I'm lightly pressing into the clay, not cutting it. I'll take my stencil off and you can see my outline. Put my stencil back in its bucket, and then I'm going to take this popsicle stick and now I'm going to cut into the clay. So I'm pushing down till I can feel the table and then cutting through all the clay. And if you want to work in little bits at a time, just cut some off, set it to the side, come back in, kind of like you would with scissors. You're going to get clay kind of stuck on your popsicle stick. Make sure you get that off, put it in your leftover clay pile. So I have all this leftover clay. What I want you to do with this is ball it up just like this, and then bring it to me and I will reuse this for another class. Okay, so you might have cut out your edges and they might be a little rough looking. Mine are pretty smooth. I think I did a nice job cutting. But you might have a little rough edges, so what you can do is you can take your finger and just smooth them out. And you might need to get your finger a little wet with some clay water, some slip. Alright, so you want it as smooth as you can make it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make the face, and we're going to use the tools that we have in our clay basket to help us. And really the one we're going to use the most is still the popsicle stick. Popsicle sticks are very, very awesome with clay. They can do a lot of different things, make a lot of cool marks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the nose. So the nose, you guys see these kind of cheekbones? The nose is going to go right here in the middle. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip my popsicle stick over and I'm going to press down, pull it up, and then crisscross, down, pull it up. And that will be my nose. So I pressed down heavy with the tip and then lightened my pressure to about right here, up, up, okay? And then from here we'll do the mouth. So if you go down, what I want you to do is I want you to draw a straight line with your popsicle stick. Right into the clay. And you want to leave a little space on either side. And then you're going to turn your stick this way. You're going to press down. Okay, and you want to try to keep them even. Mine got a little uneven, so I'll just smooth some of them out. There's my mouth. Okay, now the eyes. The eyes are going to be a little tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is a dowel rod, it's a circle rod, and I'm going to make two just like eyeballs. And I'm not pressing all the way through the clay, just a little bit. And then around each eyeball I'm going to use the tip of my popsicle stick and I'm going to create kind of like a flower shape. Okay, so this is the basic sort of Day of the Dead skeleton face. And then from here you can add your designs. So you can use your popsicle stick again if you want to, and you can add maybe just more straight lines. You can use your dowel rod, and you can add polka dots. Fork. And just decorate however you see fit. The very last step is you want to take this little dowel rod and you're going to poke a hole right through the head of your face. And what this is going to do, it's going to give you a little spot so you can hang this on a wall. You can let it sit on a nail. So I'll just wiggle it through all the way, press till I feel the table, lift it up carefully, make sure it goes all the way through. And then on the back, you just want to kind of flatten this down a little bit. Okay, and then on the back of my clay piece, with my popsicle stick, I'm going to put my initials and the letter Art Day. And then we have to let this dry, and then it will be fired, and then we can color it. Alright, so this is my sugar skull. It has been fired, so it is nice and hard. Feels kind of like a rock. If you drop this, it does run the risk of breaking now that it is so stiff. So please be careful when you get yours back. So it's fired nice and hard. Now it's ready for color. And we are just going to use paint for our sugar skull. And we're going to use watercolor paints. So you need a bucket of water to wake up the paint. You need a paintbrush. We're going to use a very small paintbrush, the smallest we can get. And you are going to have a lot of control with this assignment. So to wake up the paint, get a little water on the brush. You don't want a ton of water because if you have too much, then it'll just start to spread everywhere. And you want to just focus on the features that you've created, so such as the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and any of the designs. We're just going to leave like the cheeks and any empty space. We're not even going to put any color on that. So I want you to decide on what colors you want to use. And you're going to get a little bit on your brush. And you are going to start painting inside the shapes. So I'm starting here with my eyes. When you hit the edges of the shapes, you are going to have to slow down. And this is why we only use a little bit of water, because if we had too much, it would all just start to bleed into each other. So a little bit, just to wake up the paint, and then we have to go slow. This is why we're using a small paintbrush as well, so we can really get into these little tiny areas and keep it neat and tidy. Now if you notice your brush is getting a little dry, just put a little more water on it, not a lot. And I'm just dipping the tip of my brush in the water. I'm not even dipping the whole thing in the water, just so I can keep in control. Okay, so once you finish your first color, you do have to rinse your brush. You can dry it off on the corner of your bucket, just like this. And you can pick out your next color. And you can move forward wherever you want to go. So I'm going to do the inside of my eyes. And this is a very tiny shape, so I'm going to go very slow. And if you need to turn your mask, go ahead and turn it. So I'm just putting the tippy toe of the brush inside the shape so I don't get outside of the lines. Takes more effort, but it looks way better when you're finished. So since I have black on my brush, I'm going to keep black. I'm going to go down to the mouth because I want my mouth to be black. And this is a little tricky because I pressed down pretty far with my popsicle stick when I made the mouth. So I'm going to try to get the tippy toe of my brush into these tiny little crevices and fill the whole thing with paint. I don't want to see the clay in there. I really want to try and fill it all with paint. So I take my time. So now what I'm doing is I'm going into my designs that I've made on the face and I'm filling those with color. You do not have to fill every design with a color if you don't want to, but I think it's going to look nice if I do. So I'm kind of just putting paint where I made marks. And I'm not making too many colors. I didn't pick too many colors to use because I don't want it to look like a clown. I want it to have a little bit of focus. So I chose violet, red, black. And that's all I have right now, 3 colors. Okay, so I've completed this sugar skull. And here's another one that I've done. And with this one, I added a few more designs on my own, so I didn't just follow the textures that I made. So I just like painted this swirly line freehand with my paintbrush. These designs down here by the chin, I just painted right onto the sugar skull. If you are going to paint your own designs, please just don't go too crazy with it because you still want to be able to tell that it is a face and not just a bunch of colors and lines everywhere. Okay, so from here I will paint on a clear coat to seal it all, and you are finished with your Day of the Dead art assignment.